Hello everybody, back again. Today I spent the day getting the facts straight on what was reported by the FBI on January 6th, 2021. Well, for a long time there was a lot of questions about, since there was no secret about what the demonstrations were going to be happening out in front of the Capitol building on that date. Well published, people were coming in from across the country. Well, it turns out there were 247 FBI agents in the mix, ones that were convincing people to penetrate the Capitol. The ones that led the penetration of the Capitol were, yeah, you guessed it, FBI agents. And a lot of people were wondering why a whole bunch of these people who were given the directions and led the group going into the Capitol were not being put on the list that they were searching for and prosecuting. And some of the ones that were the leaders, like that guy out in Arizona, turns out, guess what? He was an undercover FBI agent. Finally came out after all these years. And then, in case you guys haven't noticed, they released the videos of them entering the building. And you say, well, why is that important? Well, it's important because if you look at the video, you see the Capitol Police opening the doors and letting them come in. They didn't break in. They walked in. There's a big difference. So what actually happened on January 6th was actually perpetrated by government. And that's why Trump pardoned all those people, because they were wrongfully prosecuted, basically. They weren't guilty of what they were found guilty of, or that they pled guilty of to try not going to jail for a real long time. And lo and behold, that same group of people who were involved in that now is coming out. The 12 senators and a bunch more congressmen, apparently, Republicans, all Republicans, had their phones illegally tapped. Their governmental and their personal computers hacked illegally, because there was a total weaponization of the Justice Department / FBI. If you watched Pam Bondi testifying today, that's what her primary testimony was. And it's not real surprising, given what we already know. But do you think the American people will ever be told the real truth about January 6th? I kind of doubt it. But when at least a quarter of the people, maybe more, that were present on January 6th were actually federal officers, well, guess what? It was a governmental FBI-raised event. Some of it's coming out with different people on the internet and on YouTube, and some other people have talked about this. I'm by no means the first. However, I'm probably the first one to put it this blunt. But this and doing wiretapping and computer hacking on people who have committed no crime but be in the opposition to the party in charge, that is pretty horrific in the United States of America. And that cannot be tolerated. It's got to stop. Now they're making a big deal about Truck going after Comey Brennan, and I think that Smith guy who was doing the probe on January 6th, who was in charge of the people who did the illegal wiretaps and the illegal break-ins of computers that they were not authorized to have access to. He'll be. I'm sure that Comey, Brennan, Clapper, and this, I think his name's Steve Weiss, who's in charge of the January 6th. And I'm being told almost 50 other individuals who were working at their behest, breaking civil rights and federal laws, have already been let go from the FBI. So there's been, close to 50 of the regular people who worked there who committed felonies that are gone. Now we'll see if they get prosecuted. I'm more eager to see if the guys like Comey has been indicted, but he's not been indicted for this. He's been indicted for lying to Congress. But him and Clapper and Brennan and this Weiss guy who was leading up the wiretapping and computer fraud at the FBI, these guys should be absolutely prosecuted for their federal crimes. All right, that's all I have for today on this one. Bye-bye.